So today I will teach you about El Día de los Muertos. El Día de los Muertos is the Day of the Dead. I remember growing up, being about 8 years old, when waking up one day and I watched my mom and my grandma make an altar. And it had a picture of my great-grandmother, and I looked at her and I was like, what are you guys doing? And she told me, we are making an altar. And this is typically celebrated November 2nd. It's to honor the deceased, the dead. So I had a lot of questions. My biggest question that I can remember was, why are we doing this? And my grandma said something to me that is the reason why I still do this tradition with my kids today. She told me that why wouldn't I want to honor the dead even after they're gone? So that day, everything that she told me stuck with me, and ever since then, I've continued to do this, and hopefully it will be it will be something that you in the future do. So, in an article according to Carol Sue, in an article written for the National Geographic and published in 2014, she states that the dead would be insulted if we continue to mourn them, and instead we should celebrate them. This ritual is continued, but it's really mostly celebrated by Latin American cultures, but it originated in Mexico. It's really celebrated by indigenous Aztec beliefs and Catholic religions. Although it is celebrated only in Latin American communities, Filipinos also celebrate this holiday. I will teach you about the three main things that you need to know about the Day of the Dead. First, we will talk about the altar and what it consists of. Second, we will talk about the bread and what it represents. And lastly, we'll talk about the flowers and what they mean to the dead. The altar consists of three things: pictures, colors, anything really that represented them in life. It can be books, food, drinks that they liked when they were alive, and so it's a way of honoring them. Next, now that we talked about what the altar consists of and what it represents, let's talk about the bread. The bread represents the soul of the deceased. So typically in your tradition or in your family, you would take a bread that you traditionally have, in your family. That's the best one that you like, and that's the one that you use to represent them. According to Tim Course, in an article, according to Tim Course from AC Central in an article published in 2016, he states that the bread represents the soul of the deceased, and that it should be consumed only in holy spirits. Holy spirits, yes. And so the bread represents really anything that when you consume the bread, it really represents that you're consuming the soul of your deceased loved one. And lastly, now that we've talked about the altar and what it consists of, the bread and what it represents, let's talk about the flowers. The flowers are usually marigolds. And in the Mexican community, we know them as cempasúchil, and they are the flowers that represent the dead. They represent the life of the dead, so typically we'll leave the altar up for as long as the flowers live. Once the flowers die, then we remove the altar. I have now taught you 3 things that you need to know about the Day of the Dead. I hope that in the future you will continue this tradition with your family, or take something from what you learned today. Thank you.